And we're live. How's it going, y'all? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to the channel. This is my weekly live at 12 o'clock on Friday kind of deal. This is not the only thing we do. Our main thing is like guitar tech videos that come out every week. So we got a new one coming out on Monday. So if you're new to the channel or if you're finding us for the first time, that is our normal format. And I think you're really going to dig it. It's actually part 2 in a series about Telecaster bridges and kind of a shootout deal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that's what we do. So if you have any, questions or anything like that, we're going to just talk about a few kind of little news story things that I find relevant, that I found interesting this week. And then maybe we'll do some FAQ in the end. If you've got any guitar tech questions, you can put them in the chat box and we'll talk about them live. If you don't have any questions and you just want to say hello, do that as well, because that's, we're just hanging out and talking about cool guitar stuff. So that's what we got going today. Okay, let's talk about a couple things we got going this week. One is we did not have a live show last week, so this has kind of been 2 weeks actually, now that I think about it. Because I went on vacation. Well, I took the weekend off. It was July 4th weekend. I'm actually going on vacation starting Monday. But I'll probably still be live next Friday because next week is NAMM. We're going to talk about some pre-NAMM stuff in a few minutes. So stay tuned for that. But let's talk about this video that we've got coming up on Monday. So we did this deal where, in fact, I already took the parts back out to the shop, but we did this deal where we switched, or we did kind of a before and after with a short bridge and a long bridge on a telly. Because everybody always, says, oh, well, this is going to sound better, more traditional, more twang, all that kind of stuff. It's really, really, really kind of a fun experiment. We did before and after. We didn't mess with anything. We just swapped them out. Used the same saddles. The only thing that actually changed was the actual tray. So going from a short to a long. We shot the first video and uploaded it last Monday. So you can go watch that video. You have until this Monday to do that. Go on there and put in the comments what you think. If we just give you a sample. So kind of like clean with one bridge, clean with the other bridge, dirty with one bridge, and dirty with the other bridge, in no particular order, just to give you kind of a fair listening of both of them, so that you could kind of get an idea what the difference between both of them was, and see if you could tell me, if correctly, which one, because that's always the thing, right? Everybody's like, yeah, well, the long bridge has more twang, and if you hard mount a pickup, it doesn't sound as much like a telly, and it makes a huge difference. So many things like that in guitar, everything. That's what happens, right? They literally, it makes this big conversation, and in the end, really what happens is it's just a bias of what you think. I'll just give you a little sneak peek here. So I'm challenging you to go watch that video, because I'll give you just a little sneak hint. Out of the dozens of people that have commented, I think only 2 people have gotten it right. And what that proves to me is that you believe you think you hear something, but then when really challenged, you don't. So very interesting video. I'm going to probably do some more of this kind of stuff, because I think it is, like I said, I just think it's something that we need to evaluate as guitar players. When you're arguing about dumb stuff on the internet and not focusing on actually playing the guitar, it gets lost. Playing the guitar actually gets lost in it. So I think it's kind of an interesting thing. We're going to also do a saddle comparison. So that's coming up. Pretty excited about that. Which I think you're going to be able to tell more difference there. That is my guess. But I also think that you're not going to be able to guess correctly. So here's the thing. This is, I guess, the real point of it. A lot of people could say, this sample sounds different from this sample. But a lot of people, most people, could not accurately guess which one was which. The important point of that is you've been telling yourself something for so long that you believe it. Like, this bridge is supposed to sound this way, so this is the bridge I'm going to get. Guitar players do this all the time. I need this particular thing because it's going to sound a certain way. When in actuality, it's only about this much different anyway, number one. And number two, you can't even accurately tell which one is which. It happens a lot. Very, very cool experiment. Definitely check those videos out. I think you are going to be... I think you might be surprised by the results. Definitely, if you have not watched that video, go do it. And then on this Monday, I think at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something, I already uploaded it, like scheduled it. This Monday, the second part of that video comes out where we tell you the answer and all this stuff. So this is just kind of a sneak peek of the results of the major consensus in the comments. If you haven't seen that video yet, if not, go scroll through the comments. It's very interesting what people think affects what, and then they're wrong. So they've been told for so long, this particular thing changes this about the pickup, and then the pickup sounds different, and that's why sample 2 sounds the way it does. And then they're wrong. Or whatever. I don't even remember which. I have them written down because I did not care about remembering it. I just wrote it down. We'll get back to it later. But that's the whole thing. Like, I don't know. It's just very interesting stuff. Very cool stuff. We're going to talk about some NAMM stuff. You saw the... Oh, before we get to the NAMM stuff, I want to show you something really cool. And you should Google this, and you should talk to people about it in your neighborhood, in your music scene. If you are a gigging musician, I think definitely you should bring this up as a conversation amongst your peers and with venues where you play and with a city where you live. I think this is absolutely ingenious. This is Austin, Texas right now is experimenting with a digital tip jar. And basically what it is, this terrible picture of it. I'm sorry I couldn't find a better picture. But basically, because no one carries cash anymore, it's a thing you can slide a card into and you can leave a tip for the musicians. There is processing fees, like I think it's like 6% and maybe 15 cents or something. But if you're making, 80 or 90 cents on the dollar, for every tip that you wouldn't have normally gotten because no one carries cash, I think this is fantastic. And I think especially younger people will love it. I think they'll find it very easy to just walk by there and just put their card in and give you $1 or give you $5 or give you $2 or whatever. I don't have any cash, right? I just think this is great. But for something like this to catch on, gigging musicians, people that go out to a lot of shows, venues, venue owners, and maybe even cities. I think Austin is actually trying to try this in various venues. This is something that I think we should talk about. I think we should spread it out, spread it around, and let people know that this is a possibility. Because if you can get a bar to install one of these, this is a good deal. This is very, very cool. And yeah, it costs money and it has fees, but like I said, it's money that you would not have normally gotten. I'll tell you this is kind of a little tangential story, but tell you a little story. I used to own, this is probably 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago. I used to own a bicycle ice cream business, where we had people pedaling bicycles along beaches selling ice cream. It's one of the most productive, profitable businesses I've ever had. And one of the things that happened was we added credit card processing. We put a minimum of $5 order. And here's what would happen. You'd have a bunch of college kids playing a volleyball game, and one person would want one ice cream, and they would walk up to me and they would say, can I have an ice cream bar? And I'd be like, well, it's $2 and we have a $5 minimum. The next thing they would do would be like, hey, does anybody else want any ice cream? And he would end up buying ice cream, pay me back later. He would end up buying ice cream for like 15 people. Then my average ticket ended up going up to like, 15, 20 bucks. And I stopped one time. I had to pay fees on it and all that. But my point is that it expanded the available audience of people that could purchase from me. I had to pay a little bit, but it was definitely worth it. And I think this is an extension of that. A few cents on the dollar is probably worth opening up the possibility of that. I just think it's really cool. All right. So you saw the thumbnail of this video. It was called something about Gibson is not the only stupid guitar company. I didn't say it like that, but that's really what I meant. We're going to get into how stupid Gibson is in a few minutes. Or not stupid. That's probably unfair to say, but we'll talk about them in just a minute. They're not the only people doing dumb ideas. Remember last year when they were doing like racing stripe Les Pauls and all that kind of stuff? I did not see this one coming. You've probably seen it on the internet already. The Martin D16 Brexit guitar. Come on. Are you kidding me right now? Really? $27.99. I would imagine they're going to sell every one that they make. Just like the stupid Led Zeppelin Jimmy Page guitar with the mirrors stuck on it. They sold out completely. Gimmicky stuff sells, man. It's really, really funny. I have to take my phone off the desk here. It keeps vibrating. Gimmicky stuff sells, and there's another example of it. It's really, really funny. It's, again, though, this might come down to the same kind of thing. Expanding audience. Let me show you one of the other guitars that's in this like limited. Where's it at here? Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it really quick. Oh, yeah, this thing. The American Chopper Custom Guitar. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm a motorcyclist. I would not do that to my acoustic guitar, but I would definitely. I've had aluminum top tellies. We've built aluminum top tellies. We've done some very cool gear related stuff. I actually have a sprocket tattooed on my back. I think that's very cool. So there's an audience for everything. Some of it is a little stupid looking, and we might say that. I mean, I originally said it was so dumb, but when you really think about it, that's actually very cool. Is it worth $39,999? Absolutely not. But, it's whatever. I think people are definitely, they're into what they're into, so you got to let them be what they're into, right? Let's see. The other thing I want to mention coming up, this appears to be something at NAMM. This is another kind of weird one. They're calling it the New Rarities Flame Top Chambered Telecaster. It's Telecaster that is chambered basically kind of like a Les Paul, has Tim Shaw pickups in it. They're not Tim Shaw pickups, actually. They keep saying this, that they're Tim Shaw designed pickups, and he's a genius. Don't get me wrong. He's a genius. However, they're probably not, they're just Fender pickups. I mean, let's be honest. This is a maple top, some supposedly rare ash body. I personally think it's ugly because I'm not into fancy wood, but put in the comments what you think. You might think it is beautiful. Because, a lot of people really do like those natural flamey tops and stuff like that. Personally, I'm not a fan. I don't really care about, I don't care about fancy wood, honestly, but that's just me. That's just my personality. But if that's what you're into, they're coming out with those. I don't know how much they cost. I didn't even look. I apologize. I didn't even look. Because I didn't care about it. Oh, $24.99. Actually, that's not terrible. $24.99 makes sense for that. Let's see. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, except that my computer is, I'm clicking on stuff. Okay, so This is an interesting deal. I've actually thought about experimenting with this before, but I never did it, which is okay. Somebody else can do it too. Stackable height bobbins. Now, this is not the printed circuit board wafer stuff like, help me out. You know who I'm talking about. Fishman. It is not like that. This is some other sort of tunable. I love their company, Jank Tone. I think it's hilarious because that's like a, janky is supposed to be like, let's see, $200 for a 7-string pickup, $180 for a 6-string guitar. Makes sense for a boutique product. We're at $150 for some of our stuff, our 8 strings and stuff. So makes sense. I had a customer tell me last week that I'm underpriced, which I agree with them, but whatever. The other thing that I wanted to share with you about a possibility, now this is a rumor, and I think it's very cool, is that Summer NAMM, they're saying that it's a possibility that they're going to come out with an SE version of the Silver Sky, which is a fantastic idea because this guitar is, they're saying $999. They're saying some other models are around $1,000. So they might make I can't speak, a Silver Sky SE-ish sort of thing at $1,000. It makes total sense to me. I think a lot of people will buy it because that is a really, really good guitar. I actually want one of those. That's one of the guitars that is out right now, like a new guitar that I do not own. That I might actually buy one of those. I really, really like that Silver Sky. I've only played it once, but it was one of those things you just really, really, I don't know, fell in love with it. Like you just picked it up and just started playing it, and it really is good. Now a lot of people think what they want to think because Fender versus whoever, but I do not care. If you pick up a guitar and it on its own you're like, this is good. It's good. It doesn't matter who made it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I don't care about that stuff. As you probably know by now if you've been following my channel for a while. Let's see here. The next bit of news. Now we are going to talk about Gibson for just a minute. I do think this, and people are like, why do you keep beating a dead horse? I'm not beating a dead horse. New things are happening. Stuff is happening that I think is important, that I think we need to know about because it affects us as guitar players on into the future. Dean is filing a countersuit against Gibson because they feel that Gibson did not sufficiently defend their brand over the years. The quote is in here somewhere. Let's see. The above designs, talking about the Flying V, the Explorer, and the ES335. The above designs have been prominently used and promoted for years, and in some instances decades, all the while Gibson sat on its purported rights and failed to object. That is true. Dean goes on to say Armadillo's product shapes are commonplace, so that's their mother company, and are branded with its distinct, well-known Dean and or Luna House marks and distinct-looking headstocks. To suggest that famous musicians like Michael Schenker, Eric Peterson, Christian Martucci, and John Connolly have openly promoted and played and endorsed spurious counterfeit products on stages across the world is absurd. They have a point here. This right here is where Gibson screwed up. Okay. The other place that they screwed up in this whole story, which I believe they have a fair point to contest, is that they allegedly, prior to Gibson filing suit against Dean, they went after dealers individually and sent them cease and desist orders and said, you're not allowed to sell Dean products. Take them off the walls. Otherwise, we're going to shut you down as a dealer. Now, the way a dealer works, they're not liable for that. That doesn't even make sense. And so Gibson is going after, Dean is going after Gibson for lost sales and damages over that time if they scared some dealers out of doing it. So allegedly, and that's not nice. And I really think they're going to win that one too. So I don't know. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. But I feel like that's a no-no. I don't think you go and do that to somebody else. And then one other little story here I wanted to share because I like things that are different is this is, you can go look at it later. This is Ed Sheeran's new video, Blow. He's doing a bunch of collaborations with a bunch of different artists. This particular one is with Chris Stapleton and Bruno Mars. And I love the song. First of all, I loved the fact that they did something creative and just had a bunch of people lip sync the song instead of actually play it. I think that's great. And I love the fact that Chris Stapleton is involved in it. And that many people are probably pissed about this, but I think it is amazing. And I think that if you are going to reach a younger audience that is going to be with you for decades, I say it all the time, that this is the kind of stuff that you do. And if you don't like what pop music is, be a part of the change. If Chris Stapleton says pop music is stupid, I think it needs more rock guitar, then go sing with some pop singers and give them some guitar. That's what you do. You don't sit and talk on Facebook about how everything is dying off. You go be part of the change. You go start an Instagram and you put some rock guitar on Instagram. You just be part of the change. You just go do it. We have the power. We have a computer. We have this stuff. Everybody has this stuff now. We have this stuff. All you need, I just threw it on the floor, but all you need is a cell phone. You can change the world from your cell phone. And so instead of complaining about music you don't like, I always say it. I want to make sure that if something happens to me, I want people to remember what I liked, not what I disliked. You want to be known for what you love, not for what you hated. And so I really like the constructive, I'm just going to go be part of it. And I'm going to share I'm going to bring what I have to it. I think it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I tell you what, let's, and I haven't even looked here, so this will be a surprise to me as it is with you. I didn't have a ton of stuff ready today. So let's go through some of these comments. I like this tip the band. It's now on my list for the owners of my restaurant to check out. Yeah, dude, I think this is what we do. We just start this conversation. We share this and we tell people, man. I think you know what? In fact, here, let me do this really quick. I will share this article with you. So I did not Google the company. I did not look into it. So if you are so motivated, do that. Go and Google the company. Find out there's a 1-800 number you can call. Maybe here's the link. I'll give you the link so that you can take this and run with it. Empowering you to do this. I think this is very, very cool. This is something that we can do. As people. Like let's just go and talk to our venue owners. I don't know if it's something that they have to buy. I have no idea about it. I just saw this literally. I watch Tour de France every week or every day. We'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, I was watching the race this morning and I ran across an article and I was like, it was literally like an hour before or half hour before the show today. So I don't know anything about it. All I know is this type of thinking is what we need to do. So please take that and run with it. Gibson should explore new innovations and cut back on reissued models. Mike, I would like to understand, and Tom, if you agree with him, put in the comments right now what you feel like those innovations should be. Because you bring up an interesting point here. guitar players hate innovation on the face of it. Now, there's a certain age group of guitar players that hate innovation. Let's not make too many generalizations here, but I'm going to make some. Guitar players a few years older than me and older. So they split the demographics up between 13 and 18 years old. 13 and 17. 18 to 25. 25 to 34. 35 to 55. And 55 to 75. Something like that. I could be a little bit off on that, sliding at 5 years one way or the other. But the bottom line is the majority of guitar players that cry about this stuff are higher aged. They're not 25 to 34. It's usually 44 and up. Okay. So people older than me are the ones that say, it's gotta be the way it was, blah, 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 blah. And we talk about this all the time. And then people say, well, you need to focus on innovation, but they don't want change. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What sort of innovation? I play a Kemper, right? And everybody hates it. I love it. I think it's amazing. And this is where I kind of went off on this on the beginning of the show. This is where you have to stop worrying about the length of your freaking telly bridge and just play music. That's, to me, that's really what it comes down to. We have to stop worrying about that stuff. It's fun to investigate it and learn about it, but there comes a point where you have to say, forget it. You know what? I don't care about that stuff. The Silver Sky, is it a copy? Yeah, but it's not, though. He tried to innovate. Go play one. Go buy one. If they come out with $1,000 version, go get one. Go to Sweetwater and grab one. Because they're trying to innovate. They're trying to do stuff. Those are new pickups. That is it looks like a Strat, but it is a totally different shape when you hold it in your hands. I mean, it's different, because it doesn't take much to make something different. And so that's the whole thing. And I'm not going to let people 5-finger full price, whatever. He's talking about Gibson fires the quality control people. I'm not going to go down the quality control road anymore because I believe that they are trying to improve that. They're in a transition period. They're trying to improve that. Nobody wants to have a crappy guitar, right? Nobody wants to sell a crappy guitar unless you're like the $69 one I got from China that one time. Hi, Dylan. Did you ever make that how to change your own bar pickup magnet video? I did not. I can do that. But I will tell you, all you have to do is take a blow dryer, heat it up a little bit, and very quickly loosen the 4 bottom screws. Don't take them all the way out, and then just slide it out, and then slide a new one in. That's all you really got to do. Super simple. I love traditional Gibsons, and I'm 26. However, I like whatever plays good as well. For me, it's my SGs and my Gretsch Country Club. See, so let's talk about this too. I was just watching, and we'll just have a conversation about this. I was just watching a rig rundown video of a really old dude played with like Emmylou Harris and stuff, country player. Plays a $100 guitar he got in a pawn shop 50 years ago. And I was so impressed. I'm always impressed with the older guys that are the older professionals. This is an interesting thing too. The more professional a guitar player is, believe it or not, for the most part, the less he cares about this stuff. He was literally like, and there's many, many players that are really nerds, right? But there are so many more that are like, he's like, the guitar didn't this one talked to me and this one did not. I was inspired. He kept saying a lot of songs. I could feel songs were going to come out of this guitar. This guitar inspired me. If it didn't, he just put it down and got a different one. Like, that to me is the thing. If you pick up a guitar and it doesn't speak to you, it's not for you. It's not because the saddles are a certain material. It's not because the paint is a certain thickness. It's not because it has nothing to do with that. It's the collective whole of you, how you're approaching your music, how you feel that day, like what you had for breakfast, and the guitar. Like, everything works together. And I think too many people don't skip to that point, right? I mean, it's just so awesome. Why aren't we calling out overpriced PRS guitars for their QC issues? Their finish fades faster than anyone's. Their finish is prone to chipping and cracking more than any brand I've owned. Dude, you're right. I will say, I think some of that has to do with care too. I've worked on a lot of those and been able to repair the finish. Moisture kills them things, man. It's a weird one. Bring it on. I'm in the 2 years older than God's dog age group and also own a Kemper. Yeah, try it. Let's see. I love traditional. You know, we talked about him already. Let's see. Modern doesn't mean it's innovative. This is true. This is true. You know, so one of the things that I think that doesn't get talked about enough, this happens in any industry, but for some reason in the guitar industry, people think people think it's the fault of the manufacturer, and ultimately it is, but that you pull bad quality off the shelf. But there are many, many, many industries where the responsibility, and it really comes down to it. When you walk into a guitar store, you have a relationship with the guitar store. You do not have a relationship with the manufacturer. If you have an endorsement deal with the manufacturer and he is building you a guitar, if you call me and say, build me a Strat, you have a relationship personally with me and I build you a guitar. I, as the manufacturer, am responsible for making sure that guitar is beautiful for you, works well for you, everything is perfect. That being said, if you leave it in a warehouse for a year, and then the fret ends are sharp the first time you play it, I'm not responsible for that. Am I going to work with you? Absolutely. But I'm not responsible for that because you left it in a warehouse for a year. So let's go talk about a guitar that you buy at Guitar Center, or a guitar that you buy at Sam Ash, or even a guitar that you buy at any small dealer who does not have a well thought out QC process. They're going to buy a guitar from Gibson. It is, or anybody, it doesn't matter who it is. It's going to sit in a warehouse. It's going to hang on a wall 12 feet up. You don't know what the climate control is like. You have no idea. That's where sharp fret ends come from. It's not how it could be perfect the day it leaves. Sharp fret ends are not a manufacturer's defect. And there are some things that are manufacturer's defects, but setup, fret ends, the playability of the guitar, and whether you hang a crappy guitar on the wall and try to pass it off as a good product is the responsibility of the dealer, not ultimately, it falls back on the manufacturer. But if you go into Guitar Center and some moron pulls a bad Gibson out of the box and tries to hang it on the wall and pass it off to the customer, they are responsible. You have the responsibility to point that out and tell them, I don't want this guitar. It's a bad one. Send it back. Get me a different one. You have a relationship with the dealer. You do not have a relationship with the manufacturer. So same thing when you buy a car, same thing with you when you buy a piece of clothing, anything. If I go and buy a pair of Nikes, and I had this happen, I bought a pair of Brooks running shoes. It failed. if I bought it from DSW or if I bought it from the Nike outlet store, that's different. You go back to DSW. If you bought the shoe at a third-party retailer, you do not bring the shoe back to the factory. You bring it back to the third-party retailer. If you have a problem with a car, you bring it back to the dealer. You do not bring it back to Volkswagen. Like I own a Volkswagen right now. You do not bring it back to Volkswagen. And the quality of the dealership experience, it's up to them, and they are graded by the manufacturer. Like Toyota, for instance, I owned, Toyota Tundras for a couple years, and that dealership was very, 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 very. Every time you got your oil change, every time you walked in there to ask a question, every time you do anything, they give you a survey. They want to make sure you were 100% happy because they knew that Toyota was concerned that their dealership was putting out a good product and representing the brand well. Gibson, in that respect, has not done that very well, but ultimately, the third party that you bought the guitar from is responsible. I will tell you right now that if you go to Righteous, and I'm gonna shout them out because I love them. If you go to Righteous Guitars in Atlanta, Georgia right now, they probably have 200 Gibsons hanging on the wall, maybe 100, I don't know, however many. Not one of them has a sharp fret end. Not one of them has a problem with the finish. Not one of them, none of them, from the $1,500 Gibson all the way on up to like super custom shop stuff. They're all perfect. It's because the dealership took responsibility because they knew that they were the face of Gibson. And then I don't know how many guitars they sent back because of quality issues, but that's the point. And I feel like people don't hold the dealership responsible enough and they want to complain to Gibson. But in any other industry, or Fender or anybody, any other industry, you hold the dealership responsible. If you go buy, I don't know, anything, if you go buy a lawnmower, and it fails within a warranty period, you don't take it to Honda, or, I have a Honda lawnmower. You don't take it to Honda, you take it back to Home Depot or wherever you got it. That third-party dealer is the one that's responsible. Does it fall back on the brand? Obviously. But we don't do this right. And then I think we create more drama. There's more Gibson quality drama out there because of morons on the internet barking about it than there is actual problems. People would argue with me on that, but you have to also remember the percentage of two things. You got to remember the percentage of instruments that actually has a problem versus the total amount made, number one. And you got to remember where that has happened. So you could go to Righteous Guitars, and 5,000 guitars deep through their inventory over the last couple of years, they've never had they've never sold one bad quality guitar. You go 3 miles down the road to the Guitar Center, and 2/3 of the guitars on the walls suck because A, they don't take care of them, B, they leave them in warehouses for too long, and C, they do not hold the brand responsible for the product, and then they just try to pass it off for the numbers to the customer. So if those things didn't happen, as we as informed consumers held the right people responsible, Guitar Center wouldn't suck as much and nobody would be mad at Gibson. Simple as that. And I think we need to do that more. I think we as consumers need to do that more. So yeah, little rant there. I didn't even mean to go on that today, but to me, that's a thing that we need to talk about and we need to do every day. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Change takes a bit of courage. Find some new okay, so this is one of the original people that I asked about this, what you would see change. Change takes a bit of courage. Find some new contours, invent something that they can beat their chests about. I'm 63 and I always look for sound with a soul. See, that's the thing. Find something that inspires you and stop worrying about what the capacitor is made out of. And disconnect in your head the actual technical thing from the inspiration. view the guitar, and I've always said this too, view the guitar rig as a whole. Like, zoom out, because a lot of people will get, well, I need this capacitor. Yeah, well, what kind of tone pots do you use? Yeah, well, what kind of pickups do you use? Well, how do you drive your first gain stage? Do you use a buffer? You have to keep zooming out and out and out and out and out and out, and then zoom back in to the one little thing and go after it. Nobody does that. They all like micromanage every little thing, and they don't look at the whole package as a whole. I'm saying zoom completely out of that and walk in the room and see the guitars that you have hanging on the wall and say, which one of these inspires me today? I'm going to play something. And then when it doesn't inspire you, look at it and say, why isn't it inspiring me? Is it because I bought the wrong kind of tequila? Is it because I'm mad at somebody, or somebody's mad at me? Is it because I'm stressed out in my life? Or is it really because I have 500K pots in this guitar and it should be 250 or whatever, right? Like, zoom out. And then if you need to make a change, and I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here because I want you to come to DylanTalksTone.com and buy pickups from me. But the reason we do business the way we do is because we want people to be inspired. When I sell a set of pickups and people say to me, well, what does it sound like? I don't have an answer for that. And if I did, I probably would sell more stuff. If I said you're going to sound like Slash, or you're going to sound like John Mayer, or you're going to sound like Stevie Ray, I would probably sell more stuff. But to me, that's lying. To me, that's not honest. That's not the goal of making an upgrade to a guitar, is to sound like somebody. It's also not the goal to solve a problem that's not really a problem. I was telling my son last night, we were talking about the right kind of consumer versus the right kind of business and putting those two people together. And he's real curious about entrepreneurship and stuff. And I was telling him that. I was like, you have to zoom out and look at everything and see what your goal is with what you're selling and what you're doing. And the way we do business, and this is what I told him. I said, do you realize that for every customer that buys something from me, I probably turn away or say no to, or end up not selling something to? Oh, you don't even need that. Here's what you do. It's free. 4 or 5 people for every customer that I get that actually spends money with me. I have 4 or 5 others that I'm like, oh, dude, you don't even need that. Here's what I would do. This is free. You can do it with Velcro and super glue and Bloom, and you're done, right? But that gives value, and to me, that's way more honest. And if more people did that, I think we would have, and not so much from the selling stuff side, but from how you look at your instrument. So if you look at your instrument that way, and you look at it objectively and say, do I really need to spend X amount of dollars, and do I really need to nerd out about, and do I really need to troll this forum right here for 4 hours to figure out what capacitor I need to have, or do I just need to go play the damn thing? Right? Let's see. Okay. Preach about the loud trolling minority. No, that's really true, dude. It's totally true. And we're getting a little long here, so I don't want to spend too much, waste too much of your time today just kind of chatting about this. I didn't have a ton of stuff planned today. Let's see. Dealerships are and always will be the responsible party. That's why they have got to honor the honor to be a dealership. That is exactly right. Product support is the job of the dealership. It's exactly right. If we look at it like that, we won't be as angry, at some people. I went to a GC in Orlando last year, and it wasn't a good experience. They took the guitar straight out of the case and hung it on the wall. That's it. That's exactly. I've been to that one, actually, and I got the same exact feeling and walked out. I'm not going to lie. I know what one you're talking about. And I felt the same. And there are good ones. Not every Guitar Center is terrible. And not every small privately owned shop is good, right? It's all about, and this is the thing. If you can develop a relationship with a particular dealership over time, then you'll have a good experience. But if you view it like Amazon or something, it's going to end up being like Amazon. You know what I mean? So, hey man, this has been fun. Thanks for hanging out. I have a lot of really cool things planned for the next couple weeks. We have some crazy stuff going on around here right now. You're probably seeing in pictures on Facebook and on Instagram. Please make sure that you go check out Facebook and Instagram. That we are making some changes around here, minimizing some stuff, cleaning some stuff, doing some stuff. I'm actually having a big yard sale tomorrow, selling a bunch of junk. So I'm very excited for the next 90 days and what it means for Dylan Talks Tone, what it means for our videos, what it means for our content, what it means for our products. We made some 8-string pickups this morning, sent those out, did a bunch of cables this morning. We're really busy in the shop. So it's probably why you haven't seen me as much on social media, because I've literally just been running my brains out. So if you need something, please let me know. I would love to be able to help you out now that you kind of have a little bit of an idea of why we do what we do. I mean, I think a lot of times people see the videos on YouTube and they don't actually connect it with the fact that this is what I do for a living. Like I make pickups for you for a living. I try to make people sound better. And my goal with the whole thing is you only get to play a couple hours a week probably, because you have a job and you have a family and you have everything. My goal is to make sure that those couple hours a week or those few minutes a day or whatever they are really count, and that you love it, you know? So I just really have a, that's how I feel. I don't know why I'm saying all this today, but I just moved to say it, and some days are like that. So we're going to get into I was going to do some technical FAQs and stuff that came up, but we got a little long today. Do we make wiring harnesses for left-handed guitars? Absolutely. We do. Yep, we sure do. With backwards pots and everything. If you need them, whatever you need. Yeah, just let me know. Shoot me an email or whatever, and we can do that. And I will try to be live. I think I'm going to be in California next weekend. So next Friday, our live show is probably going to be a little lower tech. We might actually just do it with a cell phone. I'm not really sure. I will put up an announcement about next week's show depending on the speed of the internet wherever we are. But I think I'm going to be in California, Northern California. But I still want to do a live show next weekend, because next weekend NAMM, or is the weekend after? Anyway, we can't miss that. We got to do some live stuff about NAMM. I might jump on here live in the next couple of days about Amazon Prime Day too, because there's going to be some really cool music-related Prime Day stuff. So I will probably jump on live and we'll just have a quick, hey, running through, this is what I think is cool. I'll probably jump on a couple of times during Amazon Prime Day, just to point you guys in the direction of some really cool stuff that I think will help you out in your home music production and guitar playing life. So that's that. So thanks for hanging out. This has been fun. I really appreciate everybody chilling out and just having a chill one with me today. We will talk to you all soon. And check out that video that comes out on Monday about the Telecaster stuff.